The rules in my house were never written down, but everyone followed them like survival depended on it, because it did. In our home, love wasn't something you were given. It was something you earned by exposing someone else. The faster you told, the more you were praised. The quieter you stayed, the more you suffered. I learned that before I even understood what family was supposed to mean. I was the middle child, easy to ignore, easier to blame. My older brother, Ayan, was everything my parents admired. Obedient, observant, loyal to them in a way that felt almost strategic. Then came my younger twin sisters, Hira and Mehak. And me, I was just there, the one who didn't quite fit into their system. From the outside, our house looked perfect, clean, peaceful, respectable, the kind of place neighbors would point to and say, "That's a good family." But inside it worked like a machine, cold, controlled, and built on fear. Every mistake had consequences, and every reward came from pointing out someone else's mistake. I still remember the first time I truly understood how things worked. I was 4 years old. I had a glass of juice in my room, something I wasn't even supposed to have. My hand slipped, and a few drops spilled onto the carpet. It wasn't a big mess, just a small stain, but to me, it felt like the end of the world. My heart started racing. I grabbed my shirt, rubbed it against the floor, even spit on it, trying to erase the evidence before anyone noticed. But Ayan saw. He didn't say anything at first. He just stood there, watching me panic. Then he turned and walked out. I knew exactly what that meant. Within seconds, I heard his voice downstairs, calm, confident, almost proud. He made a mess again. Then came silence. And after that, footsteps. Slow, heavy, certain. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I just climbed onto my bed, pressed my face into a pillow and waited. Because in our house, you didn't fight punishment. You prepared for it. You braced yourself. I heard a drawer open, leather shifting. Then the door creaked. What followed wasn't something I can forget, even now. I remember counting in my head, trying to disconnect from what was happening. 1, 2, 3. By the time it was over, I wasn't thinking about the pain anymore. I was thinking about the silence that came after. No one came to check on me. No one ever did. But downstairs, I could hear everything. Laughter. Pride. "You're such a responsible boy," my mother said. "That's how a man should behave," my father added. They weren't talking to me. They were talking to him. That was the moment something shifted inside me. I realized that in my house, kindness had a cost, and I was the one paying it. As I grew older, the punishments became more frequent, more unpredictable. It didn't take much. Leaving crumbs on my plate, not folding clothes properly, making noise when I was supposed to be quiet. Even crying too loudly could make things worse. I learned to stay invisible, to take up less space, to exist without being noticed. But my siblings adapted differently. They learned the system. They became part of it. By the time the twins turned 3, the pattern had already begun repeating. My parents showered them with love at first. Attention, affection, warmth. But it didn't last. Slowly, that affection was replaced with conditions. They stopped hugging them, stopped praising them. Unless they did one thing, report each other. Over time, even the house itself started watching us. Cameras appeared in corners, disguised as security, but we all knew what they were really for. Nothing went unnoticed. Nothing went unpunished. Except if you told first. That was the only protection. But I never did. Even when I should have, I didn't. If I saw one of them break something, I stayed quiet. If they made a mistake, I covered for them. Sometimes, I even took the blame myself. I thought maybe that would mean something. That maybe one day they'd do the same for me. They didn't. They felt safe around me, yes. They came to me when they were scared. But when it came time to choose between me and our parents, they chose them. Every time. Because fear is stronger than loyalty when you're raised like that. And slowly, something else started happening. Everyone began to see me as the problem. Not because I was worse, but because I was the easiest to punish. If something went wrong, it somehow became my fault. If someone complained, I paid the price. It didn't matter what actually happened. What mattered was who was blamed. And it was almost always me. By the time I reached my teenage years, I had stopped expecting fairness entirely. My idea of family had twisted into something unrecognizable. When I saw happy families on TV, Parents laughing with their kids, siblings protecting each other. It didn't feel real. It felt fake, like something made up for entertainment. Because in my world, family wasn't safe. It was something you survived. I focused on one thing only, getting out. School didn't matter. Grades didn't matter. Nothing mattered except distance. When college applications came around, I barely qualified. My GPA was terrible. I had no motivation, no direction, just one goal, leave. And I did. Not gracefully, not successfully, but I left. I ended up crashing in a classmate's dorm room, sleeping on the floor. It wasn't comfortable, but it was quiet. No yelling. No footsteps that made your heart drop. No punishment waiting behind every mistake. It felt unreal. The first real shock came when his parents visited. They knocked on the door, and I rushed to open it immediately. Then I froze. My body reacted before my mind did. I closed my eyes, bracing for something. Anything. A complaint. A correction. A reaction. Instead, his mother smiled. "Thank you for opening so quickly," she said warmly. Before I could process it, she hugged me. I didn't know how to respond. My entire body went stiff. For the rest of the night, I stayed quiet, alert, ready to fix anything that went wrong. I cleaned constantly, watched everything, waited for the moment something would snap. But nothing did. When they left, I expected my friend to complain about me, to criticize something I did wrong. Instead, he laughed. "Bro, my parents loved you." I didn't believe him. I couldn't. My mind twisted the memory into something else entirely. Something negative, something familiar. That's how deep it went. That's how much my reality had been shaped by fear. That night, I realized something that changed everything. It wasn't the world that was broken. It was the place I came from. And just when I thought I had finally escaped it, my phone rang. It was Hira. Her voice was barely audible, like she was afraid even the air could betray her. "Please." That was all she said. Then the call ended. No explanation. No details. Just one word. But I didn't need more. Because I knew exactly what it meant. And in that moment, I realized something else. I might have escaped that house. But she hadn't. And I wasn't going to leave her there. I didn't wait. The next morning, I went back. Every second felt dangerous. Like the walls themselves were watching me again. I timed it carefully. No hesitation, no noise. When Hira opened the door, she didn't say anything. She just looked at me, and I knew I was too late to question anything. I took her and left. No plan, no backup, just instinct. When we reached my dorm, the reality hit us both. She was shaking constantly, flinching at every sound, barely sleeping. The bruises she tried to hide told me everything I needed to know. They hadn't changed. They had just chosen a new target. My phone didn't stop ringing. At first, my parents sounded worried, then angry, then threatening. I blocked them, but that didn't stop it. Messages, unknown numbers, even my brother trying to convince me to fix things. I knew better. They weren't trying to fix anything. They were trying to regain control. We moved again, and again. Staying ahead felt impossible. Then one day, a message came through. A photo of us entering a building. They knew. That's when it hit me. Running wasn't enough anymore. Because they weren't just chasing us. They were rewriting the story. To everyone else, I wasn't protecting her. I had taken her. She wasn't hurt. She was misguided. And they, still perfect. So I made a decision. We stopped hiding. And we told the truth. We gathered everything. Photos, evidence, statements. It wasn't easy. It meant exposing everything we had been trained to keep quiet. But for the first time, someone actually listened. Authorities got involved. Investigations started. Questions were asked. And the cracks began to show. My siblings, one by one, stopped staying silent. What started as one voice turned into many. And suddenly, the story my parents had built for years started falling apart. They denied everything. But the truth was louder. Eventually, the system they controlled collapsed. Not in one moment, but piece by piece. They lost their grip, and we finally got something we never had before. Safety. Real safety. Months later, we sat together. No fear. No rules. No one watching us, waiting for us to mess up. Just silence, the kind that doesn't hurt. For the first time in my life, I understood something simple. Family isn't supposed to feel like survival. And love, it doesn't come with conditions. We didn't just escape them. We ended what they started. And that was enough.